Let me back up a sec, because honestly, if you'd told me a few years ago I'd be fighting a cold war against an HOA queen named Karen over a patch of forest and a lake, I'd have spit out my coffee laughing. I came up here for peace, to step away from city noise law offices and all those deadlines that keep your shoulders glued to your ears. Bought myself a 20-acre chunk of Sierra Nevada memory, my granddad's old campground lake, and all wrapped up in pines with not a single neighbor in earshot. At least that's what I thought. But then came the summer. I ran straight into the buzzsaw named Karen Truscott, the self-appointed president of Lake Pines Estates, clipboard, always loaded hair, always helmet, perfect. I'd heard of her sure contractors, grumbled neighbors whispered. I figured just another HOA busybody. We had a forest, a stretch of lake, and a gravel road between us. Should have been enough, right, wrong. See, when a person like Karen gets it in her head that the world should run by her rules, there's not a boundary line in the county that'll stop her. It all kicked off when I let some friends borrow my place for a weekend family's tents, the usual lake fun. I come home to a scene out of a sitcom, Karen on my dock, sun hat, blinding, barking at my guests like she's got a badge. "You are trespassing. This is a quiet shoreline." "We have bylaws," she screeched, flapping some printed HOA rulebook like it was the Constitution. The moms tried to reason with her, one dad filmed her on his phone, and the kids just looked shell-shocked. I got out, let my truck door slam, and locked eyes with her. Never seen a person freeze so fast. I told her low and calm she had 60 seconds to get off my land or I'd call the sheriff. She tried to bluster, but I started recording her face, went from rage to retreat in about 3 seconds. She scurried back to her subdivision trail, and I figured, well, that's that. But you know what? I was wrong. Next thing I know, I've got the county at my gate, a water inspector, an environmental resources lady, even the fire marshal, all coming to chase down bogus complaints. Karen had called in everything from illegal motorboats to endangered pines to burn violations, and every single one turned up empty. They'd check my skiff, electric not gas. Thanks very much, poke around my property, take water samples, and leave all shaking their heads at the paperwork. The environmental inspector even told me, some people treat bureaucracy like a hobby. Yeah, I know one in particular. Then right when I thought she'd run out of ammo, I wake up to find a sign planted by my dock community access zone, HOA use only. Fresh bench umbrella. Even a flyer for the annual fishing tournament, using my dock as their launch point. I call the sheriff, who at least has the decency to look embarrassed, and he starts spouting about old access agreements from the 60s. So I haul out my family's deed history surveys, and the legal documents, lay them out for the deputy, and he nods. Well, damn is right. The next few days I get busy. Cease and desist letter hand-delivered, bright red envelope. I document everything, photos, videos, timestamps, security cam footage. I file complaints, back up evidence, even hire a fresh surveyor to lay down the boundary lines again, GPS stamped and notarized. Karen's little operation falls apart quick. Her own HOA board scrambles to yank the sign down in the dead of night, sends me a nervous apology email, but I know it's not over. Not with someone like her. You think that would cool things off? Not a chance. I'm down at the general store buying diesel when I see her next move, a flyer on the bulletin board, my cabin and dock, and a blurry photo accusing me of hoarding a public resource. There's a petition online QR code, and all already racking up signatures from HOA members and a few board locals. Karen's got the press on her side now, too. The local paper calls me a reclusive property hoarder, while giving Karen the soapbox to cry about fairness and childhood memories. Suddenly, I'm the bad guy in my own home, and neighbors I've never met are yelling at me across the water, calling me a thief. Let me tell you, you live off-grid long enough, you learn to read the wind, and what I saw coming next was a storm. County Land Use Board hits me with a review talk of reclassifying my parcel as shared environmental asset. All legalese for Let's Open Your Lake to the public, pushed by a councilman whose campaign Karen's HOA funded. The media stirs it up, headlines, angry editorials, and then comes the kicker, a public town hall live-streamed Karen and me facing off for the soul of Lake Pines. My lawyer friend Naomi, bless her, tells me to play it cool, let the facts do the talking. The night of the town hall, it's standing room only. Karen comes in looking like she's running for Congress, binder stuffed with fake maps. She gives the speech of her life, tears, and all painting me as the villain standing between children and their birthright. My turn, no theatrics. I play footage of Karen harassing my guests, show the real deed survey maps, and just for good measure, read her email about controlling the narrative. The room goes silent. Even the county council blinks. After that, everything shifts. The press prints a new headline, forgery allegations hit HOA president. The fraud investigation opens up. Karen's own board members turn on her leaking emails that show she faked documents, pressured staff, and bragged about outmaneuvering the old man across the lake. By the time we get to court, Karen's looking smaller by the day, no more sun hat, just a pale face and a suit that doesn't quite fit. Courtrooms packed, half the county watching. The DA lays out everything, forged records, doctored maps, bribery attempts, all of it. Karen's lawyer tries to spin it, but the evidence is a landslide. The judge doesn't need much convincing, hands down 3 years for fraud, restitution for damages, and dissolves the entire Lake Pines HOA. Karen leaves in cuffs, HOA's history, and suddenly the Pines are quiet again. But here's the thing, winning didn't come from fighting louder. It came from never blinking, from knowing my rights and refusing to let some small-time tyrant weaponize paperwork against me. Week later, I host a barbecue on the dock, friends, neighbors, laughter back where it belongs. I hang a new sign, hand-carved solid wood, Karen Free Zone. Fish swim, relax, but only by my rules. The sun drops behind the trees, wine stirs up the lake, and for the first time in months, it feels like home again. But let's be honest, right? This kind of battle, it never really ends. Not in the world we live in now. There'll always be another Karen, another clipboard, another fight over what's fair, what's legal, what's right. So what do you think? Is it justice or just another round in the endless war between private rights and the so-called public good? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear where you draw the line, because sometimes the only thing standing between you and losing everything is knowing when to stand up and say, not today, not on my lake.